Imagine discovering that your favorite influencer, the one who promotes healing crystals, green juices, and gratitude journals, was secretly eating McDonald's in a parking lot at 2 a.m. Or that the online doctor preaching lockdowns was hosting yacht parties with bikini models. What if the people you trusted most for advice, motivation, or even health were just really good at pretending? If stories like these make your jaw drop, or your finger itch to unfollow, then you're in for a ride. Before we expose the most shameless lies ever monetized, make sure to subscribe to Bizarre Twisted Tales. Hit the bell so you don't miss any story that'll make you question everything you thought you knew about the online world. Because today, we're diving into the influencers who faked their way to the top and still got paid. They lied, they posed, they manipulated, and somehow they walked away with brand deals, speaking gigs, and in some cases, even more followers. From a luxury trip that never happened, to a self-help guru who helped no one, to a queen of charity fraud who turned goodwill into cold, hard cash. These are the 5 stories that prove being fake might just be the most profitable strategy on the internet. Case 1. Natalia Taylor. The vacation that never happened. Natalia Taylor was once known for her dreamy, ethereal content, luxurious gowns, exotic vacations, and captions dripping with wanderlust. Her Instagram looked like a travel agency merged with a poetry book. Thousands followed her for a glimpse into what seemed like an effortlessly elegant, jet-setting lifestyle. But in early 2020, Natalia decided to test just how easily people could be deceived by curated content alone. What she did next would turn her from influencer to internet myth. She uploaded a series of stunning images from a supposed vacation to Bali. Each photo looked more luxurious than the last. Golden bathtubs, ornate furniture, towering palm trees, and ambient lighting that could melt anxiety on sight. The captions? Meditative reflections about the power of travel and finding yourself halfway across the world. Followers were enchanted. Comments poured in. Bali looks amazing on you. What's the name of the hotel? You're glowing, girl. But here's the twist. Natalia never left the United States. She never even left her city. All the photos were taken inside an IKEA showroom. She used the store's demo bathrooms, fake plants, and showroom lighting to simulate a luxury resort. The golden tub? IKEA. The bohemian chic canopy bed? Also IKEA. Every pose was carefully framed to hide tags, price stickers, and the occasional wandering customer. The entire trip was a staged photo shoot, done in one afternoon using nothing but creativity, angles, and the illusion of perfection. And it worked. Days later, she released a video titled, "I Faked a Trip to Bali," and it instantly went viral. Some viewers felt duped, others praised her brilliance. Everyone agreed. It exposed just how fragile and fabricated influencer culture can be. News outlets picked up the story. Forums exploded. Was it deception or commentary? Was she mocking the industry or revealing it? Natalia clarified her intent: to show how easy it is to curate a lie, and how many people buy into aesthetics without questioning anything. Her experiment opened debates about trust, authenticity, and digital illusion. Some influencers applauded her. Others felt threatened. "Now people think my real trips are fake," one tweeted. But the public got the message. Don't believe everything you scroll through. And the result? Natalia's stunt didn't end her career. It elevated it. She gained thousands of followers. Brands reached out. She spoke at conferences, became a case study in media literacy classes, and even secured new sponsorships, some referencing the stunt as authentic creativity. Her IKEA stunt was cited in marketing presentations as an example of disruptive engagement. She proved that perception could be engineered and monetized. What made her experiment different was that it didn't rely on deceit for gain. It relied on perception to make a point. There were no fake sponsorships, no fabricated tragedies, no stolen identities, just a carefully constructed illusion, laid bare for everyone to examine. It was satire and strategy at the same time. The irony, of course, is that her critique of influencer culture made her even more successful within it. She was invited onto podcasts, panels, and brand campaigns centered on transparency and breaking the mold. Her fake Bali trip became a real turning point in her career. In a space where authenticity is marketed and imperfection is curated, Natalia's performance revealed the ultimate truth. The most believable stories online aren't the most honest. They're the most well lit. And if you play the game right, even a lie can become a brand. She reminded the world that in influencer culture, optics are everything. And sometimes, the most effective way to tell the truth is to fake a trip to Bali. Some critics argued that even if it was framed as a joke or a lesson, it still played with people's trust. Others insisted it was a wake-up call, a rare instance of someone inside the system pulling back the curtain. But regardless of the stance, one thing was certain: Natalia had everyone talking. And in today's attention economy, that's the most valuable currency of all. The entire episode was a reminder that influencer culture isn't just about what's real, it's about what's believable. And in that world, Natalia Taylor didn't just win the game, she rewrote it. Case 2. Dr. Mike, the quarantine preacher who partied on a yacht. Dr. Mikhail Varshavsky, better known as Dr. Mike, wasn't just any online influencer. He was branded as the internet's most handsome doctor. With his chiseled jawline, reassuring voice, and medical degree in hand, he amassed millions of followers across YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. He wasn't just attractive. He was a licensed physician dispensing health advice with charm, clarity, and charisma. When the COVID-19 pandemic hit, Dr. Mike stepped into a larger spotlight. He began producing videos about social distancing, masking, and the importance of staying home. His content went viral for all the right reasons. He was calm, trustworthy, and educated. In a sea of misinformation, he became a digital lighthouse, guiding viewers through the fog of panic and conspiracy theories. He urged his followers to protect each other, avoid gatherings, and be responsible. He even criticized influencers who traveled or partied during lockdowns, calling such behavior irresponsible and dangerous. His brand became synonymous with trustworthy medical advice, and companies lined up to collaborate. He was invited to speak on major networks and featured in campaigns focused on public health awareness. But in November 2020, as hospitals overflowed and authorities begged citizens to stay home, photos emerged that changed everything. Leaked images showed Dr. Mike celebrating his birthday on a yacht in Miami, surrounded by bikini-clad guests. No masks in sight, drinks in hand, and absolutely no signs of social distancing. It was a full-blown party, held at the height of COVID restrictions. The backlash was immediate. Fans, colleagues, and fellow healthcare professionals called him out. "This is incredibly disappointing," one nurse tweeted. "He told us to stay home while he partied in luxury." Media outlets ran headlines accusing him of hypocrisy and moral failure. What made the incident even more shocking was the contrast between his online persona and his real-life actions. Dr. Mike had built his entire pandemic presence on responsibility and sacrifice. He often highlighted the emotional toll the crisis was taking on healthcare workers. He shared stories from the front lines. So when he was seen sipping cocktails under the Florida sun, it wasn't just a misstep. It was a betrayal of trust. And yet, his brand survived. Despite the outrage, Dr. Mike didn't lose major sponsorships. His YouTube channel continued growing. He issued a brief apology, stating he understood the frustration and would do better. But the video felt generic, carefully worded to minimize damage without fully addressing the contradiction. Most brands stayed silent. A few doubled down on their partnerships, citing his overall contribution to public health. Some fans defended him, calling the criticism an overreaction. "He's human," they said. "Everyone makes mistakes." Behind the scenes, insiders noted something more frustrating. His engagement spiked. People rewatched his old content. His apology trended. In an ecosystem that rewards attention, even negative publicity became profitable. And just like that, the scandal faded. Within months, he was back to making viral content, giving interviews, and promoting wellness brands. Not only had he weathered the storm, he had profited from it. In the influencer economy, attention is oxygen. Outrage fuels clicks. Clicks attract sponsors. Dr. Mike didn't need to rebuild his image. The algorithm did it for him. The hypocrisy struck a nerve because Dr. Mike wasn't just a content creator, He was a doctor, someone whose words carried weight, whose advice was literally a matter of life and death for some. Seeing him flout the very rules he preached shattered an illusion for many. And yet, in a world where perception often trumps principles, he emerged mostly unscathed. His scandal became a blip in a feed, a moment that sparked outrage before being buried under new trends. The lesson? Image is everything, and the internet forgets quickly, especially if you're good-looking, eloquent, and algorithmically blessed. Dr. Mike didn't just break the rules. He reminded us that for some, there are no rules, only reach. Case 3. Rawvana, the vegan influencer, who was secretly eating fish for years. Yovana Mendoza Ayres, known online as Rawvana, was one of the internet's most recognizable vegan influencers. With a glowing smile, fresh-faced aesthetic, and a lifestyle centered around raw foods, juice cleanses, and plant-based purity, she became the digital embodiment of clean living. Millions followed her on YouTube and Instagram for recipes, detox guides, and wellness advice. She branded herself not just as a food influencer, but as a spiritual mentor for holistic health. Her content was aspirational, vibrant, and deeply committed to vegan ethics. She spoke passionately about saving animals, healing the body through raw food, and achieving spiritual alignment through dietary discipline. Her fans weren't just buying her ebooks. They were buying into a lifestyle, a belief system, and a leader. But in 2019, one video changed everything. While visiting Bali, Rawvana appeared in the background of another influencer's Instagram story. She wasn't the focus, just casually seated at a restaurant table. But that few seconds of NB footage would detonate her entire brand, because on the table in front of her was a plate of cooked fish. It took the internet less than 24 hours to catch it. Screenshots went viral. Twitter threads erupted. YouTube commentators dissected every frame. The queen of raw veganism. The woman who taught millions how to detox. Their lives from animal products had been caught mid-chew with fish on her fork. The fallout was swift and brutal. Fans felt betrayed. Critics pounced. She was accused of being a fraud, a hypocrite, a scammer. Memes exploded. Lo Fishvana trended. She lost followers by the tens of thousands. Her reputation, once built on purity, was now soaked in irony. In response, Rawvana released a 33-minute YouTube video titled, "This is What Is Happening." Tearful and somber, she explained that her doctors had advised her to reintroduce animal products due to serious health issues, including hormone imbalances and digestive complications. She said she had been trying to heal in private and wasn't ready to share that part of her journey yet. The reaction? Mixed at best. Some sympathized. Many more were furious. Not just that she ate fish, but that she continued to sell vegan meal plans and coaching packages during the period she was secretly off the diet. The issue wasn't her personal choice. It was the deception. Media outlets picked up the story. Headlines debated whether influencers had a responsibility to be honest, or if everything was just content. Some compared her to other wellness figures caught in scandal. But Rawvana had one advantage. She had built emotional capital. She wasn't just selling smoothies. She was selling hope and healing. That emotional bond didn't disappear overnight. What truly shocked many was the length of time she kept the shift a secret. During the period she was quietly reintroducing animal products, she continued publishing meal plans, raw cleanse challenges, and promotional content based on a lifestyle she no longer followed. For some fans, this wasn't just hypocrisy, it was theft. They felt manipulated into buying into a persona that no longer existed, all while she profited from the illusion. Despite the scandal, Rawvana managed to hold on to a surprising number of followers. She gradually pivoted toward a more inclusive, less rigid version of wellness. And whether out of forgiveness or fatigue, the internet moved on. She didn't issue a public rebranding campaign. She didn't formally apologize for continuing to sell vegan content while privately changing her diet. Instead, she let the scandal dissolve in silence and kept posting until the noise became background hum. Rawvana may have abandoned raw veganism, but she never abandoned the influencer playbook. She adapted, survived, and continued to thrive. In a space where reinvention is currency. Caught with fish on her plate, she lost part of her audience, but gained something else. The proof that even in a world obsessed with purity, imperfection still sells. Case 4. Caroline Calloway, the self-help influencer who helped no one. Caroline Calloway was everything the Instagram algorithm loved. Blonde, poetic, chaotic, and impossibly photogenic. She rose to fame in the mid-2010s by pairing dreamy photos with confessional captions that read like diary entries. She wasn't just posting, she was performing a serialized memoir in real time. Her followers didn't just like her, they felt like they knew her. She chronicled her time at Cambridge, her struggles with anxiety, her breakups, and her ambition to become a great writer. It was messy, vulnerable, dramatic. And it worked. She amassed hundreds of thousands of followers, captivated by her seemingly unfiltered emotional honesty. But the more famous Caroline became, the blurrier the line between authenticity and performance grew. In 2019, she announced a nationwide creativity workshop tour, where she would teach fans how to build a personal brand with soul. Tickets were expensive, up to $165 per seat, and promised writing exercises, meet and greets, and takeaway packages. Only, almost none of it existed. Attendees reported cancelled events, disorganized venues, and merchandise that never arrived. In some cities, she hadn't booked a location before selling tickets. The most infamous stop was in New York, where the venue was changed last minute, supplies were missing, and Caroline arrived hours late. The backlash was swift. Commentators called her a grifter. Journalists who once covered her glow-up now documented her meltdown. Her former friend, Natalie Beach, wrote a viral essay exposing the chaos behind Caroline's brand, revealing she'd ghostwritten many of those famous captions. The internet feasted on the drama. Caroline became a symbol of influencer delusion, a case study in how far someone could stretch the truth and still be adored. But what made her story truly strange wasn't the fallout. It was the fact that she didn't fall. Instead of disappearing, Caroline leaned in. She mocked the scandal, sold scammer merchandise, and began writing a memoir titled Scammer. She booked interviews, embraced her villain status, and turned the chaos into a performance art piece. She wasn't cancelled. She was converted into content. Media outlets dissected her persona. Was she a scammer or just spectacularly unprepared? Was it manipulation or just modern marketing? Her unpredictability became her brand. She stopped trying to be liked and doubled down on being watched. What followed wasn't a redemption arc. It was a reinvention. Caroline became something new, a self-aware spectacle. She posted unapologetically, turned memes into merchandise, and reframed public failure as performance art. Critics called her manipulative. Fans called her iconic. Everyone agreed she was fascinating. Digital culture couldn't look away. Even academic circles began referencing her as a case study in parasocial relationships and the blurry ethics of influencer branding. Marketing. Panels used her as a punchline and a warning. But Caroline didn't apologize. She didn't rebrand. She monetized the mess. She knew that in the economy of attention, chaos converts. Mistakes don't ruin you. They refresh the feed. Her name, once mocked, became searchable gold. Her implosion? An engine for engagement. She didn't become the literary voice of a generation, but she did something arguably more 2020s. She turned disaster into demand. While most influencers try to scrub their scandals clean, Caroline engraved hers in neon. She didn't offer clarity. She offered content, and the audience kept watching. She showed that failure, when packaged right, isn't an ending. It's a business model. In the influencer economy, chaos is just another campaign. And Caroline, she wasn't scamming. She was innovating. Case 5. Chiara Ferragni, the influencer who sold sweetness and got burned. Chiara Ferragni isn't just an influencer, she's a global brand. With over 30 million followers, a namesake fashion line, and collaborations with luxury houses, she was hailed as the ultimate Italian success story. A blogger turned business empire. She built an image of chic philanthropy, mixing fashion with feel-good causes. Her content showed glamour and support for mental health, women's rights, and charity campaigns. She wasn't just a model, she was a role model. But in late 2023, one sweet Italian dessert cracked the entire image. Ferragni partnered with Bolocco, a brand of panettone and Pandoro. The campaign promoted a special edition Ferragni branded. Pandoro sold at a premium price and marketed as part of a charity initiative. The implication: buy this cake, support a good cause. Millions did. Then came the investigation. Only a fraction of the proceeds went to the Children's Hospital. Meanwhile, Ferragni and Bolocco had profited handsomely. The backlash was immediate. This wasn't a minor misstep. It was a betrayal. Holiday cheer weaponized as marketing spin. Dubbed Pandorogate, the scandal gripped Italy. Politicians weighed in. The antitrust authority fined Ferragni over €1 million for misleading advertising. Even the Prime Minister referenced the case in a speech against fake charity. Chiara issued a public apology, promising to donate €1 million. But the tone was flat. The damage, already viral. Retailers pulled products. Brands backed out. Headlines declared the fall of Ferragni, but she didn't disappear. She returned slowly. Less glamour, more motherhood. Less perfection, more reflection. Still, trust, once broken, is hard to edit. What made it worse was how perfectly it shattered her curated image. Chiara had built a persona of vulnerability and virtue. Every pixel polished to blend luxury with goodness. But the Pandoro wasn't just a cake. It was a symbol of monetized morality, of blurred lines between cause and commerce, and how even beloved influencers can forget the cost of trust. At a time of economic pressure, many saw the overpriced cake as predatory. It wasn't tone deaf. It felt like a con. Marketing firms took note. Influencer contracts were rewritten. Crisis teams studied Ferragni's fall like a case study in overreach. She lost followers and deals, but not her platform. Because in the twisted world of influencer culture, even disgrace can convert, if you survive it. And Chiara did. Not unscathed, but unbroken. The damage wasn't just reputational, it was structural. Analysts estimated the drop in brand equity. Chiara's once lucrative licensing deals paused or vanished. Magazines that once praised her turned critical. TikTok flooded with breakdowns of the scandal, memes of the Pandoro, and side-by-side comparisons of her apology face to corporate crisis training videos. Even her husband, Fedez, faced scrutiny. By association. For a while, they were no longer Italy's power couple. They were the eye of a cultural storm. Behind the scenes, Ferragni's team launched a rebrand. The influencer who once sold empowerment now sold humility. Outfits became simpler. Captions grew longer. The word grateful appeared more than glamorous. But audiences weren't easily convinced. Because Pandorogate touched a nerve beyond fashion, it questioned the sincerity of influencer charity. It made people wonder, how much of what we buy from our idols is real? And how much is just sugar-coated performance? She didn't vanish. She pivoted, and maybe that's the most twisted part. Even scandal has its shelf life. In the end, the Pandoro wasn't just overpriced. It was a receipt. And everyone kept it. She taught a generation how to market themselves as a movement. But, in the end, even movements need receipts. Chiara Ferragni wasn't cancelled. She was archived, paused, muted by those who once believed the brand stood for something bigger than itself. And that's the irony of influencer fame. It promises closeness, but sells distance. It offers authenticity, but edits the angles. And when the mask slips, even a cake can reveal what a caption never will. Pandorogate wasn't just about charity. It was about the cost of trust in a world built on curated intimacy. And Chiara, 4. All her style and strategy reminded everyone of the oldest marketing truth there is. Once the audience feels fooled, no filter can fix it. In a world where followers are currency and trust is a product, these influencers proved one thing. You don't need to be honest to be successful, just convincing. They weren't selling skincare, books, or cakes. They were selling belief. Belief that their lives were real. Belief that their causes were pure. Belief that if we followed closely enough, maybe some of that magic would rub off on us. But belief is fragile, and once it cracks, it doesn't break quietly. So, next time you scroll, past a perfect photo with a heartfelt caption and a link in bio, remember, sometimes The most viral thing an influencer can sell is the illusion itself. If you've ever bought into a lie that looked too good to be real, don't worry, you're not alone. Hit the like button if this episode made you rethink what you double tap. Leave a comment below telling us which influencer fail still shocks you. And of course, subscribe to Bizarre Twisted Tales for more stories that blur the line between brilliance and bullshit. Because here, the truth isn't stranger than fiction. It's influencer marketing.